Mandy, how you doing, neighbor?
Spectacular. How are you? Well, I try not to say, how are you? What made you laugh today?
Whoa. Oh my, I've had such amazing client calls today. We were cracking up on so many different, everything from an SEO juice comment Susan made to me jumping into one of our clients. They were talking about installing windows and doors. And I said, hey, we're a lure agency. We'll do it all. If you need me to go install windows and doors, I'm there for you. So how
Full
about you?
service. Full
Yeah, that's
service.
right.
That's good. That's good.
Aim to please over here.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. My husband made me laugh because this morning I was like, I don't have the mental bandwidth for any, like, I'm so slammed today. I love you. And I will talk to you tonight, even though we both work from home. Like, we pass each other in the hallway. And then he's like, can we pause for a minute? I'm like, what did I just say? He's like, I just want to say thank you. And I'm so excited that we have Padres season tickets next year. So it's the first he
Oh,
said he's a total baseball junkie. And he has always wanted to get Padres season tickets or just some sort of season tickets to anything. And he's been going through the process and he got them yesterday. He's just like, thank you for supporting the stream because I know that you think it's stupid. I'm like, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's awesome. But it was just funny because I had just said, like, I don't have the mental bandwidth today. And then he's like, but wait, could you pause for a minute? It just made me laugh because he was so happy about it. And I'm psyched to go to a couple games, not all the games, not all 20 games, but I'm excited to go to a couple games with them next year.
wow, very cool. Well, off a
Yeah.
great season that Padres had, and
Yeah.
ironically, in this same kind of level, I just took off my Aztecs hat because now, as of yesterday, I'm a basketball fan. So
Oh, that's fun.
they're
That's fun.
24th now, and their football team is horrible. So why not? I'm gonna jump on the Aztec bandwagon here. So
There you go. There you go.
it's a sports week as well. So many awesome blessings that we can always talk about, but most importantly, we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart. And I'm still learning about this whole process. So, Mandy, I really appreciate you spending some time on the InnSync show. Thank you for joining me.
I'm so honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. So we are, as I mentioned before, we have our client calls every month, talk about what we think meeting planners are doing and how to get the attention. And I'm coming from it from a completely different perspective. So I figured there's nobody better to talk about this than you. You're from San Diego. So we are going to talk about what meeting planners really want from hotels. So I've got Mandi Graziano. She's a award-winning professional author, sales coach, and podcaster, which I was very blessed and honored to be on. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to dig right in right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, what do hotels really value from a planner?
Well, it's a lot of different things. And I come to this from being on the hotel side the first half of my career and then a meeting planner the second half.
Beautiful.
So, and it's changed. It flip-flops over the years. I mean, I think, and I'm just one person, right? So I think if I put my old lady hotel hat on is
Yeah.
hotels value meeting planners that know their program, that are just professional, right? Like that are organized, that are professional, that know their numbers, that know how to market their event, that understand, they don't have to understand the inner workings of a hotel completely. That's not a fair expectation, but know a little bit enough about how a hotel works that they're not making their hotel person explain the physical function of a hotel every time. But I think that's all secondary to, having a meeting planner that actually is professional, meets deadlines, knows how to market their event, and actually, does a good job, actually does their job.
Not surprisingly to me, but maybe to a lot of others in hospitality, because we've been working in our cubicles for so long. Not once did you mention anything about the bricks and mortar of the venue, or the thread counts, or the china, or the chandeliers, or the nice amenities. You talked about the people. So
Yeah.
if this is a business of people and relationships, and most everybody I talk to in hospitality says it's all about relationships, how come there's such little mention of the team or the insightful tips and trends and things that are forward facing? So if you go to most hotel websites, you go to their meetings and events pages, it's stacked chairs and it's an empty meeting room and it's all the sizzle, bells and whistles, and little about the team.
Yeah. I think there's two ways to look at that. So when you're planning a program, and you want to know right away before you can fall in love with the team. As a planner, you do want to know right away, does this fit? Is this a hotel I want to be at, right? So there is an element of the brick and mortar that's important. And that's one of my pet peeves is like, if I go to a website of a hotel, I want to do 3 clicks, right? I want to go to your URL. I want to click on meetings and events. I want to click on floor plans and capacity charts. That's going to tell me right away, how does this flow? Does it fit? And then I'll want to know more. Then once I want to know more, then please tell me about your awards. Tell me about your people. Tell me about your experience. Tell me about, your cool slide you have on the lobby or your awesome rooftop or the people that make the place. Tell me about, the golden key, best general manager. Tell me about that. But I mean, I think there is an element of, does it fit? And will this work before we can get to the people? Because the people are great, but I can't get to the people unless I know it physically fits. Like we live and die by square footages and ceiling heights.
Now, let me back that up because I'm Cory Falter, meeting planner for LureCon 25.
Yeah.
I don't know what you know, but Susan has tasked me on finding, hey, Cory, we're going to have a hospitality B2B marketing conference back east. You're in charge of finding out where we're going to do. And by the way, we're going to invite some of our clients to come join us.
Yeah.
So I'm going, oh gosh, now what do I do? Because I don't know anything about this, right?
Yeah.
Even though I do kind of, because I'm in the industry. But from a planner's perspective, much like we're finding half of our clients are coming from a planner like me, a novice, somebody that doesn't have any experience. So if I was to take your award-winning meeting planner hat off of you, Mandi, and you put Cory Falter, the novice planner on, and you're going, I need a little bit more than the floor plans, what meeting setup we're going to have, the nuts and bolts. I'm kind of looking for somebody that can help me out, right?
Yeah.
So you think that might be in reverse? Because go ahead.
Let me think this through. If you're a novice planner, you're going to want to think through a couple things. Well, first of all, you want to work with somebody like me at HPN who knows what we're doing. We can help you, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And if you don't have a relationship, that's okay, but ask around. But I think what a lot of planners, novice or experienced, make all the time, this happens to me all the time. You fall in love with a hotel that might be beautiful, or you fall in love with a destination that might be great, but it doesn't suit your needs. And when I say suit your needs, like immediately when you're like, we're doing something on the East Coast, in my head, I'm like, are you inviting local people? Are you having people fly in? If you're inviting local people, you're looking for one type of venue. If you're having people fly in, you're looking for another type of venue and destination, right? Like Atlanta is way easier to get in and out of than some of the other destinations. So like to me, I'm thinking I would be asking these questions. So if I'm a novice planner, you want somebody that's going to help you, of course, but you can't even get to somebody that helps you if you don't really know what you need. So as somebody that hasn't planned as many meetings as I have, I would encourage them or encourage you to think about, okay, am I drawing from the local community? Is it important to be near an airport? Is it not about lure agency? Is it about the actual physical structure? Like, are people going to say yes because they want to see the brand new Signia Hotel in Atlanta? Like, the lure might not be lure. It might be the hotel, right? So there's other questions that need to go into play before you can make a location decision that a novice planner should be thinking about too.
Well, ironically, you just kind of helped me guide me down this whole process. As a novice planner, you said, hey, Cory, why aren't you talking to me? Well, ironically, right? I would go to you because I don't even know what hotels you represent. I just know from our conversations, you could make us look like a rock star, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're saying, Cory, which I could not afford, I think you should have it at the Dell, or I think you should have it at Mission Bay Resort, which I think is more in your budget. But I think I've got enough insight, enough wisdom. Would you trust me to put you where I think you need to go? And I said, absolutely. So in that sense, it's really not about the venue, Mandi. Mm-hmm. I'm trusting you to say, Cory, LureCon would be awesome at Mission Bay Resort because I'm just familiar. I know the team. They're going to crush it for you. Trust me, I got it. Yeah. So you kind of, in a sense, brought it back to yourself. You are the prize, not your venues. You do represent a bunch of awesome venues, but I'm assuming they're all nice, right?
I mean, I don't represent any venues. I mean, but I can fetch any hotel or venue in the world for anybody. Yeah, but no, and But the thing is some of them aren't nice. The reality is not everybody's looking for a nice hotel. Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Now, you wouldn't
yeah.
put us you would help us navigate where I would have nowhere to go. You're just saying, hey, look, I put 10 groups at Mission Bay Resort. I know they're going to crush it. I feel confident that they're going to handle it for you.
Yeah. Like as a novice planner for your first time event, especially if it's customer facing, I would align you with the property that I know the team has expertise and I know they know how to do these launch type events and that it would be easy and impressive for you. Yeah. That I wouldn't align you with somebody that was an unknown entity to me.
So in that same line of thinking, and say XYZ Hotel in Des Moines, Iowa, which you don't know anything about, it's this amazing, actually, I'll use Akana. Akana is the new water park, huge. I'm sure have you heard about the whole bootball about Akana?
I haven't. Tell me
Oh,
more.
wow. It's incredible. It's a new benchmark property that's going to be opening in February.
Mhm.
But if you don't know about them, but they wanted to get your attention at HPN, right? So I'm assuming if you didn't know anybody there, you looked at the website, Akana's going to look amazing, but ultimately it's going to be a person that reaches out to you and you're going to go, hey, and actually I know Allie Ellis. I used to work with her. I totally trust her. Akana's got to be amazing. So I'm assuming there will be a personal connection there if they want your attention, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, that's how I learn. I mean, I can tell, like, there's a brand new hotel opening up in Cancun that just opened right now that, I personally know the people that own the business. And, I want everybody to know about them because I know their previous operation. I know they do a good job. There's a personal relationship. I know Benchmark Hotels too, and I know they do a good job. So just by you saying, you could have said Akana, and I was like, I don't know, but you're like Benchmark Hotels. I'm like, oh, they do such a great job. Of course they want to know.
That's right. You were with Global Sales and JMac and our buddies there. So that's right. So, well, getting back to your Cabo Hotel, if you didn't know these people personally and you went to the website, are there team members on the website? This is where I guess where I'm trying to get at is a lot of our hotels undervalue their team. I go to their website and there's nowhere to be found. So yeah. I'm trying and we're making a lot of headway and say, look, it's more than just your pretty venue. It's about your people, especially if you have a strong team. You're not making them part of your sales process. And I'm assuming from our conversation, and I will put words in your mouth, you think that that's a high value if the team is strong.
Yeah. The people make the place. I mean, and I know we had talked about this before, but let's take Omni Berkshire, New York City as an example. Lenny, the doorman. He's the quintessential New York City doorman. He's got the hat, he's got the suit. You come in, he greets you, but Lenny also dances. He does a twirl, he takes your bag. It's such a unique experience. And now Lenny has a TikTok channel and Lenny's got 20,000 followers. Nice. And people just go to the Omni Berkshire to see Lenny. Now, Omni Berkshire isn't the fanciest hotel. It's not the biggest hotel. It's not the shiniest, newest hotel, but they have Lenny, and Lenny lures them in because he is a person that makes the place. So I think, and I haven't looked at that website in a while, but if I was a website, I'd put Lenny on it. I don't think Lenny's there.
You're right.
Yeah. So I do think people make the place. I think about the chef at the Gaylord Texan. Like you go to a site inspection there, you have a tasting in that chef's kitchen where the entire kitchen is just decked out in all of these unique culinary experiences. Like those are the things that make the place. So I do agree. There should be a healthy mix. Awesome. There's got to be a teaser of what makes it, what will make it work for you. But there also could be a lure of the people making the place, right? Now, I love to meet the team. I love to understand the team and their experiences.
Well, this is a great segue into question 2 then. So what are the biggest mistakes you see hotels make right now into getting your attention? Somebody that you don't know.
I mean, emails, subject lines, lame subject lines, following up, checking in, circling back. Or when they send an email that's like just drilling you with 18 questions. I know why. They're new salespeople. They've been told by the revenue manager to ask these specific questions so they can get these specific answers. There's like robotically reading. I get that. But when salespeople slip into this robot mode, there's no escaping it. And it does make an impression where I'm like, oh, that hotel has sales robots. Nobody wants to work with the sales robot. So I think the sooner you can put your personal thumbprint on something, the sooner you can put your fingerprint on it, the better, whether you are young or whether you are old. Like I think the mistake is the robotic behavior, and just remembering like you are the vehicle to the brand. People don't follow the brand. They follow the person, and then you're the vehicle to the brand.
So it's hard now because it's funny. We just saw another sales coach had wrote a really funny post about the sales blitz. I don't know if you saw it. It was he talked about
what did he say?
He says that the hotel sales blitz reminds me of the Jehovah Witnesses at the front door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they're at the tie, they're knocking at the door, and suddenly
with the Bible and the candy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was rolling. It was really well done. It started a really great conversation. Most everybody said, and I weighed in by saying, I don't know if you guys have seen the difference between like back in the 70s and 80s when people show up at the door and announce, everybody was excited. Who's here? Come on in. Come on. Look who's here. This guy's here. Let's bring up the food and the what. And then they said today, it's like, shh, God, everybody get down on the ground.
Looking at your Ring app, like I'm not opening the door. I will say this though. I love a sales blitz. I loved doing it on the hotel side. As a buyer, I love it on this side when it's done correctly. Like if you are going to take 3 days out of the office and have 7 appointments a day, and you're going to take the time to set up the appointment and figure out where you're going and get in a car and drive and figure out your gift and all that stuff, make that interaction impactful, right? Like, so if you have a sales blitz and you sit down with somebody and you're just like, thank you so much for your business. Here's 3 things I appreciate about you personally. Here's 2 things I'm curious about in your business. And here's something I really think you should know about me as a salesperson and my hotel. Like that is such a more enriching conversation than like, here's a bag of candy canes, catch you later. You know, I mean, if you just really think about how you are going to interact on that, take a little extra time to get to know the person you're seeing and ask them more interesting questions and bring some more value. You know, maybe it's a like, hey, did you know that, Benchmark Hotel has this new Akana opening up in your market, whatever that is. You know, I mean, I think just bring some value and ask better questions, and those sales blitzes still work.
Well, if you read that thread, apparently you're a unique position in that place, because most everybody, I can tell, even from the sellers, are like, yeah, we've been forced to do this. It's no longer effective.
Yeah.
Because you said add value, but now you and I, my question to you would be, adding value is important. And I think building that relationship is, but now when people storm the office and you've got stuff to do and you feel annoyed, could I say, Mandi, aren't there other ways to add value to that prospect rather than on their time, so you're not disrupting their day?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't think you should show up unannounced anymore.
Okay.
When I look at the sales blitz, I look at it as an organized appointment setting situation.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're good, but I don't think you can't show up in an office anymore. People aren't even in the office.
Right.
You don't know where to find people anymore.
Right.
But I do think there's plenty of ways to add value. I mean, I think what I really appreciate is when hotels make me smarter. Like when a hotel is like, hey, did you know this about our destination? Did you know this about, let me show you this really cool way that this group did this arrival experience that I've never seen before. Here's this really awesome activation at an opening reception I've never seen before. Like those are conversation pieces that we can have with each other that make us smarter. I want value, to me, is like, how are you making me smarter so I have more to give to business? Which
may or may not include a bucket of Krish.
Well, yeah, I don't like it. No buckets of liquors. I mean, a bottle of Vouv, that's a different story. But I'll say this. I try and take that same practice, though, with my customers of, well, how can I give them value, right? Like, how do I make them smarter? Like, so I would say lately, I've been setting up one-on-one calls with my customers of like, let's talk about audiovisual pricing.
Nice.
Let's talk about food and beverage pricing. Let's talk about mocktails versus cocktails. Like, I've been trying to have conversations with them as they're going into 2025 so they can prepare. And I'm also letting them know, like, hey, don't discount some of these other brands. Like IHG has a whole bunch of new brands underneath their H has some really, they're aligned with World Hotels now. Like some people think there's only like 3 hotel brands in the whole wide world. There's so many great independent brands out there that I think the more I can share those with customers, it just gives them more options. So I look at that as service, right? Making them knowledgeable is giving really a high level of service.
Love that, which is another fantastic segue into question 3.
Look at all these segues.
I know, right? This organically comes to this. What can sellers do to change up their strategy?
I mean, I think they need to be more visible online. I love it when sellers are online. I love it when they're like, they've got their face to the camera. They're like, I got a site inspection today. Here's what I'm doing to prepare for a site inspection. If somebody is showing me what they're doing to prepare for a site inspection, that is somebody I want to work with, because I can't tell you how many sites I've been on where the keys don't work, or people aren't advancing the space, or they have no idea what your program is because they haven't looked at it. So, little things like that, like being more visible online, showing they're preparing for something, giving me information, giving me some stats, just sellers, they just have to do their job a little more effectively. And there's a lot of great sellers out there, but the bad sellers, or maybe just the misinformed sellers, when they stick out, it's very, very glaring.
You just brought up a really, really great point. I could not agree with you more. In fact, that's part of our strategy here at Lure Agency, is empowering our sales teams to do that, to get comfortable on video, which tell you, doing the behind the scenes. Why do you think there's such a reluctance? And even with some of the people that seemingly get it, they still default back to a video of a setup with nobody in it, with themselves not in it, adding no insights. It's just kind of a show. And like I said, I think a lot of people are very proud about their properties. They're beautiful, right? But so are 1,000 other properties. And it's like you just said, making you look smart and how you could educate. What do you think that is? Because I don't, a lot of people, there's a handful.
I hear it all the time. I hear this. So in my sales coaching practice, I coach a lot of hotel salespeople, a lot of hotel sales teams. And what I hear from them are 2 things. One, they're nervous they'll make a mistake. So my advice is always like, just Blair Witch Project it. Like the more authentic, the better. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try. So I think the first thing is just get over the fear of making a mistake and just start, because you will get better over time. And I know you know that. That's how I started on social media. I have literally no clue what I was doing. And I made a lot of mistakes and I got better over time. The other piece that I hear a lot is there are specific brand standards in place where the hotel companies will not allow them to show certain things. And so what I want to say to those hotel companies is get over it. Your boulder, immobile, huge ship that you refuse to move is making you stick in molasses, where all of these other brands are going past you because they're letting their people be more visible online. So I think, like, let's just say you have these very strict brand standards. That's fine. Those are in place for a good reason, but don't let those get in your way. Then you don't have to say your hotel's name. You can just say a day in the life. And here's a couple things I do. And then people are still going to be like, DM you, hey, where do you work? Where is this? This looks interesting. I think there's ways around your brand standards that still protect the integrity of the brand, but still make you visible online.
Mandi, it gets back to that question we talked about before we jumped on here, but do you think there's a level of control that leaders don't want their sellers out there because it gives them too much of that personal brand power and they don't see it? Because I've heard this before. This is definitely not a new concept. Because they think that their top rock stars will be poached.
I mean, your top rock star is going to be poached whether they're online
absolutely.
Or not. So just
not
take care of that. Yeah.
Right. So you got to off-weigh, this particular seller who's out there educating, inspiring prospects is going to make them more money versus them getting pulled away by another opportunity in that dynamic there. But it gets back to what I was talking about before. If you treat your people correctly, they won't then leave, right?
It's like the girl with the hot husband. You're just not gonna let him out of the house? Like, take care of each other. Plant the seeds, build the relationship, and when there's mutual trust, everything is great. I would like to think, and maybe this is just me being Pollyanna about it, I would like to think that leaders want the best for the people on their team and that they're smart enough to know if I got a rock star, I'm going to do my best to take care of them. But I know they're going to outgrow me eventually. Like
Sure.
really great leaders, they want great people on their team to outgrow them, especially if there's no growth for them, right? They want the best for them, especially in the hospitality industry, because, that great leader can one day work for that person that's on their team. Like there's so much back and forth on how we go. So I would like to think that it's not about control. I don't know. I do know that there are some leaders out there that don't see the value of being online and they don't want it to interrupt the sales process. So I think what I would see more often is, well, what I don't want is my salespeople, online all day when they should be answering proposals, negotiating contracts, out visiting customers. And I think that's a valid point. But I think you have to make a little space for being online now. You really do. It's, I tell people all the time, I don't prospect, I engage.
Mhm.
And I think you have to make space for engagement online as a form of prospecting. One of the tools in your toolbox. You still have to place the calls, you still have to write the notes, send the emails, do the videos. You still have to do all the things, but now you've got to add engaging online as a part of prospecting.
Well, let me ask you this then. Should social selling and being present on LinkedIn be considered a sales activity?
100%, I think. Yeah.
And it's not, right?
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. I just think we need
When?
to. Yeah,
We've
it
been at
will
this
be.
a long time.
Well, I will say this. Think about this, Cory. And I know you know the stats. I just saw these stats earlier this year. LinkedIn, 90% of people that are on LinkedIn, they never post. 93% are they
Lurker.
troll. They're lurkers, right? Which there's nothing wrong with being a lurker. You're still
Right.
absorbing and being educated.
Right.
But until we get that 7% up
Mhm.
to 20%, at least, until 20% of the people are posting, commenting, liking, resharing, doing all those things, it's not going to be considered as a sales activity. So I think it just takes time. And I think that's another boulder, right? That's going to take a little bit more time to move. And I think it's a really important part. Prospecting is being online it can't be all your prospecting, but it should be some of your prospecting.
Absolutely. Now, my pushback to that is, and part of my series on my podcast, you'll go by and see it. In fact, Mercedes is one of them, is drop receipts. I've had a couple of sellers literally come here and said, I've added up my sales. I'm attributing to X, some in 5, some in 6 figures. Don Barnett, 6 figures, LinkedIn activity only. So when you come to the table with hard evidence and receipts to show that your efforts are transitioning to hard revenue, and that notion of you sell more by not selling at all, by educating and inspiring your prospects.
Yeah.
It's no mystery anymore. So, and now the notion is, if you look in those comments, is based on the people that we get feedback, the blitzes aren't working like they used to. The cold outreach, just like you admit to, I keep getting these robotic AI generated spam messages. No one picks up the phone. I don't even pick up my agency hotline anymore and it could be new business, by the way. Up here, it's going to be a seller on the other end. We have the ability to avoid all cold prospecting. That is a fact. That has changed. That's coming back. In fact, that stat of 80% of what sales is now marketing. That's a cold, hard fact. And that has really changed. The buyer is different these days. And because of the pandemic, we got really great online, all that great stuff. Yeah, if you're not out connecting and networking on LinkedIn, people still think networking is only in person. That's ridiculous. I've had most of the great contacts I've met now, I've never met them in person.
Yeah. I mean, I know you and I met online. I belong to an entire digital hospitality community where, like, many of us have never met online, but we are constantly referring business to each other and we're constantly helping and lifting each other up. So I do think there needs to be a mix. One of my most popular speeches is networking in the new world in front and behind the screen. I think everybody needs to get really good at circle crashing, which is in-person strategies of how to connect with each other. We got to get really good at networking behind the screen, which does not mean pitch slapping via LinkedIn emails. It means engaging on whatever platform you choose or all of them. And we got to get better at emails, subject lines in the first 10 words. And that subject line in the first 10 words, I got straight from a book I read called Digital Persuasion, written by Aaron King. Awesome speaker, fantastic speaker. And that turned my brain around about how to write emails. So I think like networking comes in all shapes and sizes, but it has to be a mix of in front of the screen and behind the screen. And we've got to really sharpen our toolbox in all of those areas.
Could not agree with you more, much like this entire conversation. Before we break here, Mandi, what are you up to now and where can people find you, by the way?
Ooh, I'm up to so much. I'm so active right now. I think the most exciting thing that's happening right now is I have a Sales Tales Live. I'm about to release registration next week for Sales Tales Live, which is it's a coaching session. It's a live coaching session. It is virtual. It is fun.
Nice.
It's a mix of salespeople and entrepreneurs from all over the globe. And I did 2 or 3 of these last year, and my next one is February 4th. But I come to the table with some content. It's 70 minutes, so it's short, but
Nice.
it's highly interactive. And what I love is I love watching all these people interact with each other. They are exchanging business leads. They're networking with each other. And then it's live coaching. So in between each segment of content, we talk about like, hey, what comes up for you? What are your best practices? What's something that like makes you super nervous about that? And so it's this community of people that want to either be better at sales, entrepreneurs that don't have anybody sales managing them anymore, or just salespeople. And that's February 4th. So I release registration on that the week of, I don't know when this will air, but the week of December 12th. That's just exciting. I love doing that. And I've got another one coming up next year.
Now, so I'm clear on this. Your adventures in business isn't just hospitality. So I'm assuming maybe this is more.
Sales Tales Live is salespeople from all different industries. And we had so many industries this past year, and it's cool. It's really cool to watch a hospitality person learn from a technology salesperson.
Yeah.
Because it's like that light bulb comes on where they're like, oh, I kind of do the same thing. And why have I never tried this idea in my own business? And that's to see that happen on the screen is pretty magical from my end. But it's all over, all industries.
Funny you say that. Even the definition of a lead in hospitality is different from every other industry out there. The way that they define it. Going through my journey here is learning that hospitality is acronym heavy, and there's always the ADRs and this and that. But even the sales process is completely different. So I can see how you would see a lot of aha moments when hospitality people are meeting. Arguably, SaaS is probably one of the highest performing marketing sales cultures I've ever seen. It's hard to tell sometimes when they're using tech down to the human touch. So, and then I'm assuming you're on LinkedIn, maybe?
I'm on LinkedIn. My website is Mandi Graziano, Mandi with an I, Graziano with a G, mandigraziano.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. Just Google Mandi Graziano and you can find all the things. And I'm available. So I don't mind people sliding into my DMs. Let's start a conversation, comment on stuff. Let me know what you're selling. I've always loved learning about new products and services and supporting and lifting up wherever I can.
Oh, nice. Fantastic. Love the openness there. So,
yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me. A few minutes here. I could have talked with you all day, and we're going to have thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day. Bye.